Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing about how to get started with IMESH API Gateway. So what are the things we'll be needing to install it? What are the prerequisite that we'll be seeing and how to get started, how to use it that we'll be seeing in this video. Okay, so the steps is few prerequisites are there that we need to follow, and after that we need to register to get started with IMESH API Gateway platform. So prerequisites are like we need to apply a few CRDs that we'll be discussing. Then we need to choose the controllers, which controllers to use. And after that, once those things are done, then we'll be registering our organization and we can start using IMESH platform. Okay. So this is the prerequisite. So we need one cluster, either EKS, GKE, AKS or on-prem. Any Kubernetes cluster is fine. Then we'll be needing hem3 and above. Then we'll be needing a gateway API CRD, which is gateway specification, which we need to have it to make it work, which is Kubernetes Gateway API specification, and it is standard. Controller, any one of the controller we can choose. Currently we support two controllers, Istio and Envoy Gateway. We'll be seeing both how to make it work. Once it is done, then we'll be installing an agent into the cluster and it connects to the cluster and gets the required information so that we can start using the platform. Requirement is very minimal. It takes only 50 milli CPU and 128 MB of RAM agent, and that's enough. So without any further delay, let's get into the getting started video directly. So as I mentioned, we need to first deploy CRD, Gateway API specification CRD, and then we need to choose the controller. So first I'll be installing Gateway CRD. After that, I'll be using Istio as a controller, and later we'll be trying to install Envoy Gateway as a controller as well, and we'll be seeing both in action. Okay, so here is the release of Gateway API specification. This is the latest one. I'm going to install this. We support both experimental and standard, but for this video, as it's just getting started video, we'll be starting with the standard install. So just copy the link and we can run into the cluster. Currently, so I'm having one cluster which is clean. We can see it here. Still get NS. So it's a clean cluster. There's nothing here, and we'll be installing or configuring this cluster. What are the things will be needed to get started? Okay, so let's start kubectl apply F. So this is the standard gateway API CRD we are deploying. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. It will create CRDs. Yeah, so it's done. After that, we need to install any one of the controller. So either Istio or Envoy Gateway. First we'll try with Istio, then we'll try with Envoy Gateway. So for Istio, I'll be installing with istioctl command. So make sure you have this istioctl with you, or you can install with him as well. Istioctl install set profile equal to minimal. I'm keeping it minimal because I need only STOD, which is a controller, main controller. We don't need anything extra like ingress and all. So only STOD is enough for this, as we are going to use as a API gateway. Okay. So I'm hitting enter. It will install Istio CRDs and STOD. In few seconds it will be done. So let's wait for that. STOD is installed. Fine. Now we are good. So the prerequisite, what we just saw here, I'm using a AKS cluster currently. Gateway API we deployed, then we installed Istio controller. Now we will be seeing how to install this Helm. But before getting into the Helm, we need to register our organization, and there will be getting how to register the cluster. There will be getting command as well. Once we are done with installing the controller, now it's time to register to IMESH API Gateway platform and install the agent. So for that, what will be going is, so what we'll be doing, we need to open one link. So that we need to go to app.imesh.ai. Here we need to click on register, and here we need to give organization ID. So it will be like imesh.ai, so imesh-ai and name, email, AI test. So we can give any password here of your choice. Okay, and then we can register. Yeah, so once it is registered, we can log in. So we had given IMESH-AI that I'm choosing as an organization ID again, and then we need to sign in. For the first time when we are logging in, it will be asking to verify the email address. So that email address, whatever we have given, that need to be a valid email address. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, so we should be getting one verification email in the email address which has been given. So I would have been receiving that. Okay, now we got it. So we can copy the link. We can open in browser to verify it. Let me do it here itself. And we should be able to log in. So once it is verified, it will take to the dashboard. As no cluster and all is there, so we need to add a cluster. So we can click here, we can register cluster, and after that we can start deploying our gateway and routes. So first of all, we need to deploy an agent. For that, we need to register that cluster. Sit it here, give any name. I'm giving demo cluster. These are the commands we need to fire in sequence. And this last command is valid for only 5 minutes. So we need to run this command within the 5 minutes. Otherwise it will expire and we need to redo the registration. So as this iMessage sent is already, repo is already added, it's giving this message. We can go ahead and update the repo so that it pulls the latest repo image, and we need to fire this command to install an agent. This is a very minimal agent which interacts with the cluster, and it's kind of a linking between the cluster, like your cluster, and IMESH API Gateway platform. Okay, so if it's already there, let's clean it out. Uninstall agent. And IMESH. Okay. Now let's try installing again. Yeah, it got installed. Now if we hit done and if it registered successfully, we should be able to see it here. Yeah. So demo cluster is registered, and now we should be able to interact with the cluster which we just registered. Okay. So now all those things, that command line things is done, all those things now will be going to the platform dashboard. We'll be able to use all subsequent things. For the demo, what we'll be doing, we'll be deploying a famous Istio book info application and we'll be trying to access it from the outside. So let's go ahead and deploy a book info application. So for that, kubectl apply. I have downloaded this one, so it is available in Istio GitHub site. Anyone can download. It will be deployed into the default namespace. You can check that. kubectl get pods. Okay, so the application is deployed. But we would not be able to access it from the outside because there is no gateway, nothing. Currently, there is nothing. So we go ahead and create a gateway first. We need to select clusters. So the registered cluster here, select it and then add gateway. We can give name of the gateway. So IMESH API gateway. Gateway namespace. We can select any one of the existing namespace or we can create a new one. So I prefer to create here new one for the gateway. Gateway namespace will be created. And as we installed our controller, Istio controller, so I'm selecting as Istio. We have support for both Istio and Envoy Gateway. We'll be seeing that Envoy Gateway in some time, but as we install the Istio controller, we'll be going ahead with Istio controller here. Other things I'm keeping for now is default. Let's continue. Here we need to add a listener. Listener is nothing but on which port we want to listen and which protocol we want to listen for. So that's the configuration. So we need to hit it here. Listener name, I can give it HTTP, sorry. Match host name, I am not giving for now. I'm keeping it default. It means it will be able to listen for anything, any request. Let's select the protocol HTTP and I'm giving the port as 80. Other things I'm keeping default. Namespace. Namespace here, allowed route means which all routes can be allowed to connect to this gateway. So whenever we have a route, so same means if, so that route also should be there in the same namespace of the gateway. All means any namespace I'm keeping for all so that it will be easier for us to see. Then save and then we can hit deploy. So gateway deployed. You should be able to see here. Currently configured is saying cross. It will be up in some time because it creates the load balancer and all into the public cloud and then it assigns the IP we'll be seeing. So refresh it here. And once it is up, we should be able to see those IP here. Okay, so let's wait for that to get up. Meanwhile, we can verify kubectl get gateway class. Okay, already Istio gateway class is present that we are trying to use it. Get HTW. Okay, it is true. It is having address also. Yeah, so it got the address, but if we try to open this address currently, we'll not be able to use it because there is no route to listen currently. There is no route attached to that gateway. It has just load balancer is deployed. It is functioning. It had got the IP, but there is no application behind that one to listen to that. So for that, second step is we need to create a route and then link that to the gateway and the port whatever we, so whenever we get a request on this IP and the particular port, that request will be forwarded to a route which we are going to register, and that route will forward that request to the desired application so that it is desired microservice. So let's go ahead and create route. So here we need to hit route, add route. I'm giving HTTP or book info route. Route namespace. Either we can create or we can use anyone. I'm keeping default. Currently my application is also in default. So I'm just deploying that to avoid any complications at this point of time. So just getting started video. All advanced things and all will be covering in next videos. Other things will be keeping default. Next, here's the gateway linking. So whatever gateway we created, so one route can be attached to like any gateways and all, any number of gateways. So whatever gateway so far we created, that will be listing here. So whenever we press the drop down, we'll be getting that. So this is the gateway we created, and this is one of the listener we created, port 80. So that also we can select. If we had created multiple listeners, so we'll be seeing that one here. So as we created only one, so it was showing only one. Then hit continue. Here we can give conditions, advanced conditions. Okay. Then we can give actions. Actions, lot many things are there. Modify request header, modify response header, all those things are there. That those are the advanced actions we can perform. Currently, I'm keeping it simple, doing nothing. Just go ahead and whenever the request is coming, just forward that request to this service. So that service I'm going to select from a default namespace, which we deployed our book info application. So namespace. Then we need to select which service we want to forward. So that's the product page service. We need to select port. It's pulling all the information. We are not mentioning anything manually and all here. So all these things information it pulled and all the things I'm keeping default. Now we can go ahead and deploy the route. Route deployed. Here we can see the route and it is attached to this gateway. So now when we hit this one, we should be able to get that page up and running. Let's go ahead, hit it out. Yeah, it's running. We didn't go anything, we didn't fire any command into the terminal and all. We just installed Istio as a controller, gateway controller. We deployed a gateway API CRD and just a small agent for the platform. And now all other things we should be able to do it from this platform. We need not to go to terminal. We need not to open anything after that. So all this configuration, it was very simple. Just few clicks and it's up and running. Okay, we can go ahead. We can verify this application. So it's running. It's a famous application. We can refresh to see if we are getting the response from all this versions. So the review is having 3 versions. Okay. So when we refresh, it will be changing here. One is without a star, one will be black star, and one will be with red star. So let's see. Refresh a couple of times. Yeah. So all 3 microservices up and running. We are able to get this one. So far what we saw, it was with Istio as a controller. Istio controller we used. Now it's time for the Envoy gateway as a controller. The second thing we'll be doing. We can install the same into the same cluster, both the controllers. We can have it separately. All those options are there or either. So, but I'll be installing that second controller also into the same as just for the demo purpose. But in usually one of the controller will be only there and that will be sufficient. But for the demo purpose, I'll be installing the second one also into the same cluster, or better I'll uninstall this one and install that the Envoy gateway one. Anything I can do. So I'll try to install along with this only. Okay, so for that, what we need to do, we need to go and install our Envoy gateway. So we can come here and we need to fire this one. It will be installing Gateway API CRD as well as Envoy Gateway controller as well. So if we are using Envoy Gateway, we need to install Gateway API separately. That's one of the advantage here. Okay. So let's go ahead and deploy it. Fine. So now we should be able to see. So let's verify if we have what all the gateway classes we have. So currently we have only Istio 1. So Envoy Gateway by default doesn't deploy the gateway class. So for that we need to create and deploy a gateway class. For that we can create a gateway class similar to this. Metadata name and controller will be Envoy Gateway controller. Okay, that's the thing we need to deploy. That's it. And after that we should be able to use it from our platform. kubectl apply Envoy Gateway. Okay, it's created. Now we should be able to see both are up. Okay, now if we try to deploy anything from the platform, we should be able to use it the Envoy Gateway controller as well. So let's go ahead, create another gateway. Let's name IMESH Envoy Gateway. Gateway name space again I can give anyone. So let's create another one and give a name IMESH EG. Save it, select the controller as Envoy Gateway and keeping other things as default. Continue similar to that previous things whatever we did. HTTP listener I'm giving port 80, similar configuration, save and deploy. It's deployed. So now again similar kind of thing. Here the another gateway is deployed now and it should be getting IP in some time and that IP we should be able to use it. Again it is creating the load balancer and all and assigning the IP now we got and it is configured, it's up and running for use. But again there is no route, so when we try to open it we'll get nothing for now. So again we need to attach that route to this gateway. So let's go ahead and create another route. So I'm just giving name easy route, keeping in the default only other things as the default. Gateway linking. So now as we have two gateways, we can select any one of the gateway. So we tried with this one, Istio one. Now we'll be trying with the Envoy Gateway ones. Listener again, same thing. Continue. HTTP rule, keeping other things default. Just service we need to add. Default product page, port again, and deploy. Done. Okay. So now both two routes are there, two gateways are there. Now, if we try to hit that IP of Envoy gateway, we should be able to open it as well. See, both are having two different IPs and both are working fine. So both controllers, both the gateways are working fine. Perfect. So that's all for this video. All the features, all the advanced features and all will be covering in future videos. This is the video of how to get started with IMESH API Gateway platform. If you have any question at any point of time, please feel free to contact us at contact@imesh.ai, and we have a Slack channel as well. Visit our website and join the Slack channel. Thank you.